I want to have you on that boat. Plants.
Oh,
They have the chlorophyll. They make energy from sunlight. And there was a time in the evolutionary process where we had organisms that were both. They had mitochondria and chloroplasts. And I was like, well, since chloroplast is using the never-ending source of light, and I have learned that nature goes the most efficient way of evolution, why has it decided to cut life forms like animals and us from the property of having something like the chloroplast that would enable us to transmute sunlight? And maybe it hasn't. Maybe we have got other properties and are still capable of reacting somehow to sunlight and transmuting it. What gives me the thinking of that? In this webinar, I asked very bluntly the other spiritual people if they experience similar changes in perceiving the world. For example, after experience a samadhi or something, the love with everything. I know it's very, for me, it was random because I was lying and I was meditating and I was doing all my symbols and whatever because I do it before going to bed. And then it came, it was like, oh my God, I feel all the atoms and molecules in me, around me. I can feel it. Ah, this is so nice. And I was just in this love bubble. And that it was a different love bubble, I realized at the next morning when I woke up, and it was as if I would be in another room. The quality of air was different perceived by me. The colors were different perceived in me. The buildings, it was like, oh my God, was it always so beautiful here? This. And with that came, I needed even more water intake during the day. Some of my cravings stopped. I love chocolate. I love the instant soup, yum yum. They simply stopped. There was some junk food like the frozen pizza. After one serving, I'm like, oh my God, my stomach is producing too much acidity. It's like, okay, I was eating it, but enjoying is different. And it went from, okay, now I don't like it anymore. What do I like more? And then it became a really completely different diet. And the brain fog is away. Excuse me. I remember less. I forget things that are not important for me because I know when it becomes important for me, they will directly, or I will remember. And so it's somehow like all this consciousness that has been bothered with holding something aware, like the to-do list and this and this and this manager, it's away. And I prefer it that way because I know I don't need to keep it. Because as soon as there is something that is important for my life, my body will react, my soul will react, and then I will do it. And this has showed me living in a particular part or design of 3D. It is very hard for you to break free and become sovereign because at least I grew up or I was socialized, everything is my responsibility. Everything. Yeah. And the picture of when you forget something or when you do it just lose and it goes then wrong, it's your fault. Well, I can tell you it's never your fault. It's never. A lot of systems are built on normalizing ein Zustand. a state, yeah. Normalizing a state that requires a lot of effort to hold a particular wished presence. For example, everything runs well, everyone is nice, everything is smooth at school, everyone is in time, the copy machine works, the internet works, and it is not for granted because these things are in use. The traffic is something you can't control, and all these things, but school is built on everything works fine. We can start at this particular minute. Every lesson goes like that. And you get, I was like, but this is not standard. Standard is that you have everywhere the X of anything can happen because every time it's different. And to see this right now with my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, we live in that. We make this happen. And we wonder why we are so burned out because we normalize a presence, a reality that is held by us in this status. Because we allow so less of, yeah, when it goes wrong, then it goes wrong. What do you want me to do? Control the weather?
Right. The chaos of it. You mentioned the plants.
The aliveness. Yeah, the
Yeah,
plants.
sure. I hear you. Prior to you mentioning the plants, I was thinking of an autobiography of a yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda, and I'm not remembering the name of the plant. I always go to the word Nutella. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, and how the membranes and structures are that of the neurons in our brains. So that similarity
Interesting.
there. Yes. And the fact that, photosynthesis and light and our DNA, if our DNA is being activated by more of the Schumann resonance and more light coming into the universe right now, helping to evolve us, is that not us letting go of the density, and increasing our light quotient? Maybe it's just through our human design that we synthesize light differently than plants. However, it's just our version of it, right? And how as a child, everything was your responsibility. And then how many people, we come into this world and you have that burden, gush, right? Under the heavy burden of the 3D world, the density of the 3D world, and our relationship with ourselves and the people in the world, and then in this structure, and having our creativity. I want to do creativity / chaos. Chaos is a tricky word there, but the aliveness I love, being guardrailed into the structured system, linear system, and then becoming more and more disconnected from our higher selves, and into the world, corralled into the world, and moving along, because that is the current paradigm of the world's composition. And so, as you're saying, we manage light differently. Okay, the melatonin, right? You wonder how melatonin and light is a hormone synthesizing. It's not photosynthesis. However, our relationship, right? And when you had your experience of samadhi, and then you became enlightened, literally, your light, you let go of density, right? Through that experience, and your light quotient must have increased, and you were able then to connect to a little more of the outer dimension, or the 5D or beyond. I don't want to, again, I feel like all my human words are trying to constrict or, identify something, but do the best.
Just bring them up.
Yeah.
I think words are words, and
and cravings.
Enlightenment. It's like Becoming wise. Well, I don't think I have become wiser. Yesterday, I was fighting with my boyfriend. He was saying something very neutral, but it was I published something on Reddit, on Substack, and I told him about it, and he was like, "But this is very profane. This is not scientific," and it triggered me. And I was defending myself. My arguments were all well. After some hours, he came back and said, "The point you made, it was profound." I was like, "Yeah, but the tone." Yeah, you were fighting, you were defending. It was nice to see that this essay is something very dear to you, but it felt like you want to make me wrong. And I was like, "Yes, I don't want to make you wrong." It was just like, yeah, I failed to stay kind and to receive your arguments is something that brings me on. Yeah, so far to enlighten. Bashar says, if you want to start to be enlightened, lighten up on yourself. Take it lighter. So it means be happy.
Yeah.
Abraham
And
Hicks
more
says the same.
detached.
Be happy. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
It's like
3D, I was thinking of that. What does 3D refer to? Is it hate? Huh? Yeah, we will never get out of this because that's why we are incarnating here.
that's
Or
the other
not?
piece. And that was when Source through you last time also mentioned sixth and seventh. I'm thinking, well, how do we stay grounded in our bodies based in this reality? How without,
This can only happen when the vessel is stable.
right. So yeah.
And maybe it is something like okay, there are now a lot of concepts. Which do we pick, Source? The chakras. Okay, we pick the chakras as referring systems. So 1D would be just the base chakra. We just need the matter. It would just be, and now we are in the chemistry, it would just be all materia. It would be atoms or something. Yeah. And then second D would be creational. You would have the contrast of something is and something is not. Or, yeah. And third would be, yeah, what would it then be? Third is solar plexus. No? Would it be identity? The egoistic thing? The I am, the sun? I have it right, they say. It would be the egoistic one. But what would it mean on and 4D would be from the heart.
Okay.
And 5D would be the sound and the waves. 6D would be, yeah, what?
Wow.
What would be the perception of, and 7D would be out. But this is just on this model. I'm getting confused by that because all these terms somehow need to have a kind of definition. When we are speaking of dimensions, what is a dimension? Ah, there was a clip. In physics, it would be, I saw it in the YouTube. This would be one-dimensional. We just can go up and down, I believe.
And then back and forth.
Yeah, just in one. We would be here. This would be, when it's open, we could go back and forth and up, but only here. And what would be? Or is this even schon fourth? I need to, I'm throwing it kreuz und quer. I don't get it. I have to ask someone. But this was related to movement in, yeah, space and time. Because then one dimension, I think it's the fourth, is when you have something that is like that, and you move page by page. And this could be an analogy of our life. It is always like that. It is always here, and we are writing it while going on, and it's never lost.
Interesting. And Pamela Arlen also mentioned how in 2020, whether it was the root chakra that collectively we were clearing, or the
really cool
sacral. So as a collective, and this all brings me back to what you're saying, like we are one, it's all one. We have it all inside of us and we are inside of it. But as a collective, how we are also, moving toward higher consciousness by the clearing of the collective chakras. So if 2020 was like root or sacral, or now is like, that was root and now is like sacral. And to what degree, as we go through these waves of consciousness, we are clearing the collective chakras, which then allow us to, over all this time, stay rooted and grounded in our human bodies, and then also be able to elevate to the higher consciousness, have our light quotients be higher. So we are more connected to 5D, and then that 5D body, like your 5D body is so connected beyond, and you're able to be stable throughout.
I believe it has really to do something with the water intake, because I was right now thinking, how do you increase the light gradient?
The fascia.
The fascia.
The whole system of the fascia being conductive with what's it called? Electric, it holds all the water. It manages water differently, and it's
so the water intake, clear light that you get in, and then it's here.
Silica, quartz. That's why we quartz. The reverberant. Sorry, I totally interrupted you there, but I'm getting so excited about learning about the fascia as well. So our cells, silica.
Because I think, Melita, this is important. I think this is because this is the bridging. There are so many people who say, you are eating and drinking light. It's a metaphor for we have some tissues that bind the water, and water in itself, does it have properties to
400?
I mean, water breaks light.
It has
and this the experience with the guy who put music or word under your water, then freeze it, and the crystals will change its form. This must be proof enough, because this would even say not only light, but the frequency of the environment.
And the food, it just like the moon water, or saying I love you, or having the memory packets, the cells in the water are able to absorb, and then you're actually intaking a higher quality. The same thing with food. People who enjoy cooking and are in a loving environment while they're cooking, and eating, changes the composition. It changes the composition. But as you're saying, water, and we are water and electricity, conductivity. It sounds strange to say water and how we are filled with water, but also electrical beings without it feeling dangerous, but
that's great, isn't it? But this would be the explanation. You need to have all your contrasts in balance. We are water and electricity in balance. We are we are what is called in the Bible the paradise where the lion and the sheep are lying next to each other. We are the water, and we are living by the harmony of contrasting elements. Water and electricity, harmonic. The heart, while it is pumping, it's somewhere, otherwise it wouldn't work. We have the density in us and the fluidity, the bones, and which then produce the blood. And it goes on and on and on, and you have that, and that is very nice. There was another thing. Since we are bridging, what possibly could spiritual terms mean through a perspective of you and me with the lens of biology and whatever. Pimping up your auric field. So since we have collected the information that water changes its crystals accordingly to what is in its environment, when it's positive, it has this form. So when every human consists of new water, which is blank, and you yourself are first creating the vibration of love, which will then affect the structure of the crystals in the water, when you are telling yourself nice words, and then your fascia will here have this. Yeah, it could all make sense.
It does.
And maybe they haven't discovered all these tissue, which is responsible for being the water sponge, because when they cut it off, it dries and it's away.
There's that other piece where the planets, I guess we're moving into the age of Aquarius, right? When Freud was coming out with not just the ego,
the libido, Eros and war, the humans would be dictated by their pleasure or by death.
Libido. Yeah, there's more to it. However, that the planets needed to be, our system was conducive to that awakening within that paradigm, right? Now we're more quantum. We're awakening more into the quantum. I'm just going to call it a paradigm for the moment. And as you said, maybe they haven't discovered it yet, being that like everything, all the information's out there. But as we're moving into the higher consciousness, this is becoming, it's apparent in our conversation, right? That it's becoming more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Obvious, more and more apparent.
Dominant, visible, apparent.
Ability for us, conducive for our ability to discover it. Again, I keep going from the cells to the universes and to Earth currently in its growth cycle and Earth's enlightenment with us on it, moving through, it's shifting on its poles. We're moving, we're receiving all of this light and all these frequencies. Humans are being awakened. Earth is being cleansed. Gaia is doing her thing through this whole process. For us as a collective to be able to start to absorb more of these ideas, modalities, theories, facts, it's just the turning of it, if that makes sense. As you said, maybe they haven't discovered it yet, or whatever your word was at the moment, because it's all there.
Yeah, discovered.
Right?
But it's gonna come. It's gonna come because, like in the past, the change or revelation of a new worldview was linked to new inventions that opened up or could back up the new perceived world. And quantum would be one of it.
Yeah. Because it's there and we've been dealing with it. And it's just, woo-woo for many people, but it's, being able to more and more as the ratio of 5D and enlightened beings is growing and growing. They become more into the bridging of the science and the current science, traditional, and the quantum, and being widely accepted. It's just a matter of when, but it's happening as we speak, and through speaking, it's so indicative of its existence.
Yeah, and I think our conversation is very important to show at least two woo-woo people know the science a little bit, and they are I look for the interconnectedness. And sometimes I'll fall for, I need to find something that proves my theory.
Yeah.
But then I get, this is not, when you want to see something, you are not always going to see something. But this is the phenomenon we all have to deal with. When you are looking for something red, you are going to find something red. Even if it's not there. There was another thing. It just crossed my mind. So it has been found out now that the universe expands faster than assumed. So it is younger than assumed. And I was like, okay, so it's moving. Where is it moving into? Where is it expanding? And then I was like, what about the raising of consciousness being new possibilities by the universe in itself being created by being what it is now, what it wasn't before? Because when it's bigger, more things have been created, more components are there. Maybe outside of Earth there are new laws of physics or whatever. I mean, universe is creative. Why shouldn't it play with the toys it has created? And when it's now moving and somewhere completely different than it has been before, kind of created uncharted territory or something where the quantity of something causes the shift in quality, and with that everything is new and we start from anew. And this goes very parallel with the new beginning of the zodiac and so and so. The people say this what we are experiencing we haven't experienced for I don't know how many years, 200,000 or something like that. I don't know. But it is interesting to think of that because it would show there are analogies. You
Absolutely.
have got the organ, and it would make sense. And it would make sense even if it is completely nonsensical. I know, but it's a nice story to tell and to.
It does. It does. And you have just articulately explained what I was trying to describe in disjointed words. Exactly. And the Kali Yuga, is it Kali Luga or Kali Yuga? The turning of Earth and entering the light cycle. And to what, that's another thing ultimately for maybe another conversation, is as the Mayans or Atlantis, Lemuria,
The Mayans have it had, yeah.
how they, were able to continue to expand. However, for some reason, the destruction of those civilizations occurred. Where was the breakdown? But within these cycles of development in the Kali Yuga, I have to look that up again. Cliff High, my mom listens to Cliff High, and he's always talking about that. And Zachariah Sitchin, the Earth Chronicles, gets into the fourth pole, the shifting. And where are we in this cycle of Earth of moving toward higher consciousness and enlightenment like other civilizations have in the past? How many years, Earth years? It's the turning of the wheel, right? The turning of the wheel and the cycles, and how we get to a place of higher consciousness, and then the wheel turns. Then it moves back into destructiveness. And this is me with my poor history and whatnot. But with what you're saying, our advancement and the creation, and then why not play with the toys we have, and then being aware of the toys that exist, and the awareness of the toys that exist not only are in our immediate environment, but the overall environment and within the paradigm that we're living in. And we're moving to the feminine is coming in with this with more light and higher frequencies, and the more masculine, as we balance, the more masculine paradigm is shifting, right? And we have a lot of this chaos now through this change, and ultimately for that beautiful balance of both the masculine and the feminine energies together. But again, it comes to that small picture within us, our immediate environment, the expanded environment, and like we're all spinning on this apple, and what's happening, what's making the apple spin is affecting us.
Yes. Yes.
So it's so amazing. But the Kali Yuga, I think it's called, I think has to do with what you were saying, and
Caligula.
as you articulately put it, I think it's KALIYUGA. If you're looking it up, that's great. The
I
Earth
am
rotation.
intending to.
The
Kaliga, Earth rotation.
But Einstein and Madame Curie and Tesla all knew about
Kali
it.
Yuga. According to some myths, Kali's horse will stamp the earth with its right foot, causing the tortoise that supports the world to drop into the deep.
Nope.
Then Kalki will restore the earth to its initial purity. Yeah, the Kali Yuga is one of the last eras in the Hinduism in the cosmology of the Hindu.
Okay. And then you had the Mayans with the Mayan calendar. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I think it doesn't need to be so big, because these phases our historians have already found in our own history. There is the cycle of government structures. We had it in history. You have always like first the kingdomhood, and in one part of a society it becomes a tyranny, sometimes a democracy, but when a certain thingy bingy happens, it falls apart and it starts from anew. And then it goes in cycles. So, and I think we are right now at we've moved past the tipping point they are selling? What do you want me to tell? We are moving straight to a new hierarchy of being. What does this mean? You will find out soon enough.
Oh, they must be laughing at me so much. Yeah, like, oh my gosh, the fourth turning, and even within the 100-year cycle, societal changes,
Yeah.
through the generations, and what is this? Another book with the collective, societal collective, and the paradigms within that we follow as well. I'll pull out the books and get into that, but Source is funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, they are always funny. They are always. Epigenetics. Now the term came. Epigenetics.
Oh yeah.
Epigenetics. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was fantastic.
Yeah.